are meant to call from out of the past stories, strange and weird.
Tales of mystery and terror by radio's masters of the macabre.
Stories of the supernatural, the supernormal, dramatized in fantasy, the mystery, the unknown. We tell you this frankly, so if you wish to avoid the excitement and tension of these imaginary plays, we urge you calmly, sincerely, to turn off your radio now.
The Mummers in the Little Theater of the Air.
Now, the Hermit.
Ghost stories. Weird stories and murders, too. The Hermit knows of them all. Turn out your lights. Turn them out. Have you heard the story? Reflected image, eh? Then listen while the Hermit tells you the story.
Hey, Dan, you gotta wait. I can't go a step farther.
Gotta keep going.
Oh, this heat. This desert heat. I can't go on.
Listen, Taylor. If we keep going, we're bound to strike civilization before long.
Don't be such a devil, Dan. I gotta rest.
All right. For a few minutes, then.
Desert. Desert. I hate it. Walking for hours. Sun beating down.
Stop it, Taylor. You can't go on that way. If you do, you'll go loco.
Come on. Let me have a drink of water.
We should wait till the sun goes down. Do us more good then.
You are the devil, holding out on water. My tongue's like a bale of cotton.
All right. You think I'm a devil holding out? There isn't any more water.
No more water?
We drained the last when we took that drink 4 or 5 hours ago.
I don't believe it. Let me have a bottle.
Here.
No water. No more water. No more water.
Now, listen. Don't do no good to get panicky. Only make your thirst worse. Crying out like that. Just another day would bring us into a settlement.
Lost. Our bones will bleach white here on the desert.
Sit back and rest. It's getting cooler now.
Dan, look. Look over there, atop that rise of sand.
I'm looking.
Do you see her standing there?
I see the dead stump of a tree. So do you.
I see her. A beautiful woman. The breeze blow on her dress. So cool like. And Dan, she's waving to us, beckoning us to come on.
Taylor, where are you going? Come back here.
Wait, I'm coming. I see you. Don't go away. I'll get up. Just wait, that's all. Wait.
Follow me. I'll take you to our cabin.
Cabin? Water.
There's a well near the cabin. Follow me.
Dan, she's real. She's telling us to follow her. Dan, hurry.
Follow me. Follow me to the cabin. All the water that you want to drink. Follow me.
Dan! Dan!
Taylor, you got to get a hold of yourself.
I talked to her. There was a woman here. It was no dead tree. She said to follow her. That way. East, she said, to the cabin and water. Dan, you gotta believe. You gotta try it. Help me up, Dan.
Oh, Taylor, you're seeing things.
No, you gotta try. She was here, and she said to follow her.
I can't believe you saw anyone.
It's worth trying, isn't it, Dan? I talked to her. She said to walk this way. Come on.
It's getting too dark to see, Taylor. We ought to...
Oh, you're gonna try.
Well...
Come on.
Where's the woman now?
She went ahead. I saw her move this way.
Hello? Hello? See? No one answers. You didn't see any woman.
We gotta keep walking this way, Dan.
Oh, it's crazy.
Cabin. Water. The woman said this way.
There wasn't any woman. You've gone off your nut, Taylor. If you don't stop this crazy stuff, I'm going to leave you in the morning. Strike out for myself.
Look. Look. Do you see?
Why, all that's good. A light.
I told you. Cabin, water, just as the woman said.
You must have seen a woman, Taylor. I didn't believe.
Come on, Dan, hurry.
We've struck real luck. Luck and water. Hello? Hello? We're coming. Hello? No one answers. It ain't a light in the cabin, Taylor. It's a star we see.
No, it ain't no star. It's a light in a cabin too big for a star.
It is pretty big, Taylor. You're right. I can see the shack now.
Sure.
Come on. The cabin door is open. They've heard us. The woman is waiting for us.
Hooray! Water! Water!
Take it easy, partner. Don't drink too fast or too much at first.
That's enough, Taylor, for now.
Where's your outfit, stranger?
Lost it 3 days ago.
You ain't packing any guns?
No, we haven't any.
Then you're welcome to stay the night.
It was mighty nice of your wife to tell us we were welcome here.
What's that, stranger?
Your wife, or the woman that told us to follow her here to the cabin and water.
I don't savvy what you mean.
Funny thing. I could drink forever, but it don't seem to quench my thirst.
Let me take the cup now.
Both of you better take it easy. Like I said, too much ain't good all of a sudden. Strangers, what are you doing here in the desert?
A storm overtook us 4 or 5 days ago. We didn't even have time to unpack the animals.
And when the storm was over, horses, outfit, everything gone.
I see. Now, what was this about you seeing a woman who directed you here to my cabin?
Taylor here. He thought he saw a woman waving to him. A woman who said there was a cabin and a well of water near. But I figured all the time he was seeing things. Sort of a reflected image on the desert sands.
Yeah. Folks drifting into insanity are always seeing things on the desert.
Sure. I know it. Now, how far are we from the nearest settlement?
The nearest settlement is about 35 miles due east of here.
Not as far as I thought. We can start out in the morning.
Sure. I'll give you directions.
Fine, partner. Fine. You live here all alone?
Yep. My name is Fred Holker.
Well, glad to meet you. I'm Dan Torrance. My partner, Taylor Wiley.
You're welcome for the night. I'll rustle up some grub. And after eating, I'll tell you a desert story that'll put your seeing a woman on the desert in the small class as stories go. Yes. I'll tell you a real desert story, if you wouldn't listen. This story will tell you what horrible things the desert can do to folks. It was about 3 years ago that me and my partner got together all our possessions. We sold them for all the profit we could get. Then bought stuff to start out on a prospecting trip. For a while, we didn't strike enough gold to make expenses. Then one morning, Ab and me made a walloping strike and hightailed it to town with our samples.
What's all the shooting about,
boy? Me and Ab just come from the assaying office, that's what.
Go on, what's the news?
We stuck it, boys. We stuck it rich.
Do you hear that? Holcroft and Ab have struck it.
I'll say we stuck it. No more grubbing for us. We're in the money, boys. We're in. Yep, we was rich. The first thing I did was to send back to the settlement for my girl to come out to me. Ab helped me get ready for her. We built this here cabin. Of course, it's no mansion, but it's a sight better than most desert shanties. Well, Lila came out, and we was married in El Toro, and then came back here to the cabin. Lila, she brought things along to pretty up the place. Curtains and such. We was real happy. Ab, Lila, and me. And the gold was still coming in. Night times, Lila and me would make plans as to how we were going to the big cities and live like king and queen. Then one morning, I comes into the cabin. Lila was sitting in that chair where you are sitting now, stranger. And Ab was standing there by the table. I could sense right away that something was up. I says, supper on, Lila?
No.
Time for grub, ain't it?
Maybe so.
Go on, Lila. Tell him.
Tell me what?
Lila don't want to stay here with you anymore, Fred.
I reckon Lila's able to talk for herself, Ab. What's this Ab is telling me, Lila?
Heb's got it right, Fred. I hate it out here. And you won't give up and say we got enough to move on.
Well, now...
Let me do the talking. I can't stand it here in the desert. Not any longer. I'll go crazy if I have to be here another day.
But I thought...
Go on, tell him all of it, Lila. It ain't only the desert you don't like. It's him. Lila's in love with me.
Is this true? Lila, tell me. Is it the truth what I was saying?
Yes.
Why, Ab, you desert rat, I'll break every bone in your body.
Now, take it easy. You won't touch me so long as I got the draw on you.
Fight like a man, you yellow-livered skunk. Put down that gun and fight like a man.
Yes, don't listen to him. Don't you lay a hand on Ab, Fred.
I ain't afraid to fight him. There's my gun on the table. Now, come on ahead.
Yeah.
You...
Don't kill him!
That's what I aim to do. Kill him. You'll never walk out of here. You're poisoned like a snake.
I give up. No. I'll get out.
And I'm through with you. You'll crawl on your hands and knees.
No. Stop it.
Oh. You winged me.
I meant to kill you, you skunk.
I can still fight this rat with one arm. And you...
No, Fred. No. I give up. No.
Ab, speak to me. You killed him. You killed Ab.
You can't kill a skunk like him.
He's not breathing. Look, his head's all smashed from hitting the table. Ab, speak to me.
Let me see him.
Dead. You killed him, man, Fred Holcroft. Ab. Oh, Ab.
You're to blame for this, Lila. You're to blame for it all. A no good woman. You tried to kill me. For all your sins you'll pay. You'll start paying right now.
Did I tell the sheriff about you being a murderer?
You ain't going to tell the sheriff or nobody else what's happened in this cabin. You're going to do just what I tell you to do. And no more.
3 men on the desert in an old cabin. 2 listen intently as an old man tells them a strange story of murder. The woman who beckoned them to the cabin that night. Where is she? The hermit will tell you before the night is done.
And now, the hermit again.
Fred Holcroft continues to narrate his strange desert story to the two men who were led to his cabin by a woman. Listen.
Well, sir, we buried Ab that night.
What do you mean, we?
Lila and me. The woman who had betrayed me. I made her handle the shovel. I can remember as well as if it were today. She was sobbing and carrying on. But I kept her shoveling. Keep shoveling. Cover up the man you loved. Make him a good deep grave. Don't look to me for mercy. Keep digging.
You loved me once, Fred. You gotta have mercy.
I don't recollect you have no mercy for me. I hope he can still feel things while he's there in the sand. Yeah. I hope the sand chokes him. Burns out his eyes.
Mercy.
Get up on your feet. He's buried deep enough now. And you listen to what I'm telling you. If anybody comes this way, we don't know what happened to Ab. You hear? We don't know nothing. I can tell by the look in your eyes that you figure I was mighty cruel to Lila. But you gotta remember, she had played me dirt. And what's more, she had tried to murder me to save that skunk of a man. I couldn't forget that. I didn't forget it. Every hour, I made her suffer for her sins. I made her work the mine with me. Made her stand out in the blinding storms, in the heat of the sun, till her skin was burned black and her eyes all puffed and faded out, till her beauty was gone forever. Well, as for me, I was sorting away the gold, burying it right underneath his cabin floor, biding my time, and waiting till I had enough gold to buy whatever I wanted from this life. Then, Lila, she took down with a fever. One night when the moon was riding high, and the sky bright as daylight on the desert sands, she got up from her bed. I tried to stop her.
Don't touch me. I'm going away.
You're sick, Lila. You can't leave the cabin.
I'm going to Ab.
To Ab, is it? Ain't you suffered enough for your sins? You still got to mention his name?
Let go of me, Fred. I gotta find Ab.
Go then. And never come back to this cabin. Never come back. I stood at the door of this cabin watching her stagger away in the moonlight night. I never searched for her body. Her bones are bleached white by now from the sun. As for me, well, I always figured on moving on. But the sun and the desert, the scorching sands and the wild winds blowing, all of it sort of got into my blood. And I've stayed on here, hoarding my gold. But one of these days I'll be pulling out for the city, and the lights, the music, all the rich things money can buy.
I don't understand it. Why are you telling all this to us, two strangers? How do you know we won't report you as a murderer?
I don't likely know why I'm talking. Unless it's that the loneliness in the desert has got me.
You let the woman wander off into the desert to die?
I told you just as it happened.
Don't you understand, stranger? That woman didn't die. It was her we saw tonight. Her that beckoned us into this cabin. She never died at all.
Taylor, you never saw any woman. You said the dead stump of a tree. You thought it was someone moving.
She talked to me, I tell you.
What was that?
Don't you know? It's her. Look. Look out the window.
Lila.
That's the woman who beckoned to Dan and me. She's standing out there at the window.
No. She died, I told you.
I never died, Fred. Never died. I've come for you.
Don't let her in this cabin.
Look. She walked right through the door.
It can't be her.
Look closely, Fred. I've come to finish up what I should have done years ago.
Stop her. Don't let her do that again.
I've got it now, Fred. This time I'll do more than wing you.
She got me. Got me.
Grab him, Taylor.
Look at the blood.
Help her. I'm dying.
He's done for.
And the woman. She's disappeared through that door just like she came in.
She's gone. And you and I, Taylor, we're going to be accused of this murder. We're telling the story straight, mister. You've got to go out there and get his body. And you got to believe it, just as we told you. The woman killed him and vanished. We're not guilty.
Sit down, stranger. Take it easy. What did you say the old guy's name was?
Fred Holcroft, he told us.
Old Fred, eh? Who struck it rich or thought he did?
That's him. He's lying there in the cabin now with a bullet through his heart.
I guess you two were really touched by the sun.
You got to go out to the cabin with us and see for yourself.
Listen, stranger. You ain't going to get anybody in Artura to go out to that desert shack to look for the body of Fred Holcroft.
What do you mean?
We mean there ain't no sense in looking for the body of him that's been dead for 20 years.
I don't get it.
Fred Holcroft's been dead for 19 or 20 years. I went out there at the time, recollect it well.
I was in the party that went out there, too.
Sure. Found his body and that of his wife's, both stretched out on the floor of the cabin. Died of the fever, I reckon. Why, there ain't any cabin out there anymore. Blowed away long ago by the wind. Yes, sirree. You two have really been seeing things.
But you ain't the first ones that have come out of the desert telling about seeing a woman standing out there in the sands, beckoning them to the cabin in a water hole. Just a few months ago, a guy comes in here babbling about a woman who led him to a water hole. But ain't none of them ever been so touched before that they saw the old man or the cabin, or had a vision of a murder.
Did anyone ever find old Holcroft's gold?
Nope, nor his partner neither. Some folks reckoned he left Fred and his wife there to die and took the gold for himself.
Listen, then. It may be we saw a vision, but you come out there with us to the spot where the cabin did stand. Maybe we can prove to you that the story we heard last night was true. Here's where we stopped.
But you can see there ain't any cabin.
You said the gold was buried underneath the cabin floor.
That would be about here.
All right, for the heck of it, let's start digging.
Come on.
Gold. By cracky gold.
Just as we told you. Just as he told it to us. Visions, huh? Visions on a desert. But it was more than our being touched by the sun. We saw spirits of the dead. We saw them and heard them. And we've found the gold that brought about evil and murder.
Image of the desert. And yet it was not of the mind alone, but rather a ghostly vision of the past. Spirits that could not rest in their graves of sand. Ghostly visions returning to Earth to walk the desert on moonlight nights, to speak to the living, to relate over and over the stories of their sin and murder. Yes. Turn on your lights. Turn them on. I'll be back. Pleasant dreams.
All characters, places, and occurrences mentioned in the Hermit's Cave are fictitious, and similarity to persons, places, or occurrences is purely accidental.
Strange Tales.
RelicRadio.com presents tales of the strange and bizarre, the weird and the wicked. Stories not necessarily of the supernatural, but of the unnatural. Join us now for Strange Tales, featuring radio drama at its most mysterious and unusual. Welcome back to Strange Tales. Thanks for joining me this Sunday. We're going to hear from Theater 5 this week. Series that aired over ABC stations Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. from August of 1964 to July of 1965, produced 256 episodes. We'll hear the wonderful Stamps from El Dorado, their story from April 21st, 1965.
Theater 5 presents The Wonderful Stamps from El Dorado.
Now, look here, Mr. Murchison.
Yes, sir?
I want the truth from you, the whole truth. And I intend to get it.
My dear sir, I'm always truthful. I'm a teacher of mathematics, and mathematics is the most truthful of all sciences.
Maybe so. But even if figures don't lie, liars can figure, so don't try it on me.
Well, I have no intention of trying anything on you, sir. You shall have the truth.
You mean you're ready to make a statement about the disappearance of your friend Harry Fentress?
Yes, I'm ready to tell you everything I know about Harry.
Johnson, get this down. Every word of it.
I'm taking it down, sir.
All right, Murchison, you can start. Now, for the record, let me state that we know that last week a friend of yours, Harry Fentress, came here from Boston to visit you. Several days ago, he vanished, disappeared, simply evaporated from this fancy penthouse of yours 40 floors up. No one has seen a sign of him since. Now, what I want to know is what happened to Harry Fentress.
All right, I'll tell you the exact truth. You won't believe me, but I'll tell you anyway. To make you understand what happened to Harry Fentress, I have to go back a good many years, 20 years actually, to a certain New Year's Eve when my Uncle John, a daring Wall Street plunger and a great world traveler, asked me to call on him. right here in this very apartment.
Nels, my boy, tomorrow begins a new year. I predict it'll be no better than the old one. The world is going to the dogs.
I believe people have been saying that for 3,000 years, sir, but somehow we still seem to get along.
Well, that may be, but you'll have to get along without me. I've had enough, and I'm bowing out.
Uncle, I hope you don't mean that
I simply mean that I plan to retire and enjoy myself. I shall loaf for a few hundred years, shoot big game, flirt with pretty girls.
Excuse me, sir. Did you say a few hundred years?
I'm a busy man. I cannot repeat myself. Let us say that I intend to seek a change of scene. But before I go, I want to do what I can for you.
Thank you, sir. That's very generous.
Unfortunately, I'm dead broke.
Well, that's very depressing to hear, Uncle. I was hoping for, well, at least $1 million so I could give up teaching.
Now, cheer up, boy. You'll always have a roof over your head anyway. I own this penthouse apartment. I've paid up the carrying charges for 20 years in advance. You can live here without worrying for 20 years anyway.
Well, that's something, sir. I could never afford anything like this on my teacher's salary.
Aside from the furniture, the only thing I have to leave you is my stamp collection. Here it is. You'll find some of the stamps not only very rare, but rather unusual.
Thank you, Uncle.
And now you must excuse me. I have some farewell letters to write.
Will I see you again?
That depends entirely on you. And now, goodbye. Or perhaps I should say, au revoir.
Next day, my uncle vanished from this very apartment, completely disappeared. So I moved in. I was very disappointed when I tried to sell his stamp collection. The dealer said the stamps not only weren't rare, but one set, loose in the back, had to be forgeries because they were issued by some foreign country that called itself the Federated States of El Dorado, and he'd never heard of the place. He offered so little that I kept the stamps as a memento of my uncle. And so I went on teaching. Well, now, gentlemen, we skipped 20 years. We come to the events of last week.
Yes, and it's about time, Murchison. I'm being very patient with you. Get to Harry Fentress.
I'm about to do so, sir. Harry is an old friend from Boston with whom I played chess by mail. One night last week, I mailed him a move in our latest game. Harry is a stamp collector, so in a spirit of fun, I took one of those mysterious forgeries, those stamps from the Federated States of El Dorado, out of my uncle's album and pasted it on the back of the letter. It was a 10-cent denomination, and it said, Rapid Post. Well, no sooner had I put the stamp on my letter than, to my amazement, the letter rose in the air. For a moment, it floated over my desk, and then it shot toward the open window and out at terrific speed. By the time I got to the window, it was gone.
Murchison, I don't know what this nonsense is about, but you...
Please, let me finish. As I stood at the window, the phone rang. It was Harry Fentress calling from Boston. That envelope with the El Dorado stamp had just floated in his window and landed on his desk. It was the first case in the world of a real airmail letter, one which went directly by air from the sender to the receiver. And Harry said he was coming the very next morning to discuss the whole strange affair with me.
Nils, I tell you, it's the stamp. That Federated States of El Dorado stamp. It carried the letter directly to me at a speed of thousands of miles a minute.
It's too bad Washington can't issue stamps like that. We might get our mail on time.
Nils, this is a big thing. Now, we have to investigate it. Have you any more of those stamps?
A dozen or more. Look, right here in the album. The dealer said they were forgeries.
Forgeries? They're the rarest stamps in the world. I wonder where your uncle got them.
Oh? What is it?
Your uncle used to be a great traveler. Now, even before the days of airplanes, he'd be in India one day, in Mexico the next, in Africa the day after. Isn't that right?
Well, yes, it's true. I never thought of that, but what are you getting at?
This is how he did it. He used these El Dorado stamps to mail himself from place to place. There's no other answer.
Why, George, you're right.
He must have mailed himself around the world.
And he told you some of those stamps were rare and unusual. Unusual, that's hardly the word for it.
I should say not. But Harry, how can we test them out?
Well, we'll try them on ourselves. Now, where would you like to go for a vacation? Right now, today.
Well, let me think. Yeah, Paris. The Left Bank. A little cafe, I remember. The Silver Pheasant.
No sooner said than done. Get me 2 tags. We're mailing ourselves to the Silver Pheasant Cafe in Paris.
Now, listen to me, Murchison. If you think I'm going to sit here...
Please, you asked for the truth. You might at least listen to it. I know it may sound unbelievable to you, but we did. We addressed 2 tags to the Silver Pheasant Cafe. Put on those wonderful stamps from El Dorado, and... we were there. 1 minute we were in this apartment, in this very room. The next, we were standing in the Silver Pheasant Cafe in Paris with the noise and sounds of Paris all around us.
Nibs, we're here in Paris.
It worked, Harry. The El Dorado stamps brought us here just as you said they would. Well, let's get a table. Garçon, garçon.
Here comes someone. He's not a waiter.
Yes, sir?
Garçon. Oh, I beg your pardon.
Yes, sir. I am the police.
Yes, I see you are.
You are foreigners. May I see your passports?
He looks awful grim to me.
Our, passports?
Your passports, cards of identity. You must explain yourself. En vitesse, if you please.
Harry, what'll I do? We don't have any passports. He'd put us in jail. The French are so suspicious these days. And you know French jail.
Monsieur, I insist. Your passports at once.
Get him talking. I'll write out 2 more tags and address us back home.
Well, we got out of that by mailing ourselves back here.
You mailed yourselves back here. To Paris and back again by airmail. I don't know why I'm listening to you.
Because every word I'm speaking is the truth. We got back here safely, but the experience was a little shattering.
Nils, I'm bitterly disappointed. I was all set for a Paris holiday.
Yeah, so was I. If only we hadn't run into that French policeman.
Well, we're not going to give up. Now, you do have a passport, don't you?
Yeah, in the desk.
Well, get it. I have one in my bag. We'll carry them this time. There are lots of stamps left. Let's take a world tour. Where shall we go first?
Well, I have Uncle John's notebook here. He's noted down places he particularly enjoyed. He says, let's see, that Cairo is one of the world's most fascinating cities.
Well, then let's go. Next stop, Cairo.
Now, you listen to me, Murchison. I want to know what happened to Harry Fentress.
I'm trying to tell you.
As the district attorney, I advise you to come clean. We'll try to give you a break.
I said I'm trying to help you, sir.
You're trying to confuse us because you're an accessory. Maybe the murderer.
That's a reckless charge, sir. But in order to understand, you have to know the entire story. As I was saying, we mailed ourselves to Cairo in care of the American embassy there.
They're throwing rocks at us.
They're not attacking us, Harry. It's a demonstration against our embassy.
Yeah, well, that rock just missed me. Ow! That stone hit me.
All right, we better get inside. Try the door. It's locked. We're locked out. Let us in. We are Americans. Help!
No, it's no use. All right. I'm going to mail us back to the apartment. If we stay here, we may be killed.
All right, but hurry. We just got out of there in time. The mob was surging forward when Harry got the tags stamped, and here we were, back in the apartment. Harry, my nerves are badly shattered.
Yeah, well, that was very unfortunate. And that mob must have been mad at the United States for something.
So many people are these days. We try so hard.
Well, that takes care of Cairo. Oh, but I hate to give up. I think we ought to try again.
Well, it seems a shame not to use these stamps now that we have them. Listen to this from my uncle's notebook. The village of Rembak in Africa is located amidst the most beautiful jungle scenery in the world. The foliage is lush and the trees drip orchids.
Oh, that sounds more like it. Some quiet, peaceful scenery is what we need at this point. I'll get the tags ready. What'd you say the name of that place was?
Rembak, Africa.
Then let's go!
So there we were, in a lovely clearing in the African jungle, with a waterfall nearby and the trees alive with orchids. And...
Nels! Someone's shooting at us!
the natives!
They're trying to kill us!
You chaps! Get down, you fool! Over here!
Come on, Nels!
Behind this tree!
I'm with you.
That was close.
Walker, cover the left side of their line. Brownie, start from there in the middle. Now, will you two blasted fools tell me what you're doing here? Trying to get yourselves killed?
We're just looking for some nice, quiet scenery.
In the middle of a native rebellion? Don't you know those Simbas will flay you alive if they catch you?
Our information about this place seems to be dated.
Get set, men. They're going to charge.
Nils, here's your tag. Let's get out of here.
Mm-hmm. And I suppose you're going to tell me you found yourself right back here in this apartment.
That's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
Badly shaken, but determined not to give up. We tried 2 or 3 other spots my uncle mentioned in his notebook. The story was always the same. Riots, rebellions, civil war. No matter where we went, we couldn't get away from it. Finally, we tried a remote Pacific island that my uncle's notebook called the Unspoiled Pearl of the Pacific. On the beach, we found a huge sign. Danger, atomic testing area. Well, sir, we got away from there fast. Back here in the apartment, we talked things over.
Nils, I guess we're beaten. There's no place in the world that's quiet and peaceful anymore.
20 years ago, my Uncle John said the world was going to the dogs. It looks as if he was right.
Disappeared mysteriously, didn't he? Right out of this penthouse. Where do you suppose he went?
I only wish I knew.
He was a smart old bird. He's probably found some perfect hideaway with... That's it.
What is?
That's where he went. The place we haven't tried. El Dorado itself.
El Dorado? But
it's the only possible answer. Now, he said he was going to loaf, shoot big game, and flirt with pretty girls. And did you notice some beautiful girls and the gorgeous scenery and the strange animals on the stamps? Oh, this El Dorado must be a wonderful place.
Well, Harry, we don't even know where it is.
Well, what of it? We've tried all the places we know, and what have we found? Riots, turmoil, fighting, and trouble. And what's more, things aren't going to get any better.
Well, that's how Uncle John talked.
No, he was right. And I've made up my mind. I'm going to join him.
But suppose you can't get back.
No, if the place is as beautiful as those stamps make it seem, who wants to get back? Yeah, give me a pen and that tag. I think you should come, too.
I'd like to think it over, Harry.
Suit yourself. I'll address myself in care of your uncle. Care of Mr. John Murchison, Federated States of El Dorado. Perishable, handled with care. That ought to do it. Now, give me a stamp.
There are only 2 left.
Well, give me the green one. Yeah, that's it. I can just imagine that place, El Dorado. Oh, by the night, your uncle and I'll be drinking palm wine under a golden moon. Are you coming?
Well, if I only knew where El Dorado is... No, I think I'll wait, Harry.
If you change your mind, there's 1 stamp left. Well, I'm putting mine on. There. Goodbye, Nils. Goodbye.
Harry was gone. He shot out of the window and vanished into the sky at incredible speed. And I just lost my nerve. I couldn't bring myself to go off into the unknown that way. But, Mr. District Attorney, that is what happened to Harry Fentress. He mailed himself to El Dorado.
Mr. Murchison, I've heard some wild stories in my time, but this one tops them all. Harry Fentress is dead, isn't he?
I don't know. I'd give $1,000 to know. But I believe he's alive, and right this minute is the happiest man on earth. That is, if he is on earth.
Get that, Johnson.
Yes, sir.
Now, come off it, Murchison. You quarreled with him, you killed him, somehow you hid his body, and... What do you got there?
It's the last El Dorado stamp I have left.
Very pretty. An attractive native girl. Federated States of El Dorado, Rapid Post.
Maybe now you'll believe me.
Excuse me, sir.
What is it, Johnson?
Oh, the phone in the next room, sir. It's for you, your office.
All right, I'll come take it. You stand outside the door until I'm finished. As for you, Murchison, don't try to get away. I'm not through with you.
Get away? Where could I go? In fact, where on earth would I want to go the way things are? Unless... Harry, I wonder if you had the right idea. By George, I will. I'll do it. I'll join you and Uncle John. Where's a tag and that last stamp?
All right, Murchison, now we're going to stop all this nonsense and... Murchison? Where are you? Johnson, he's gone.
Well, he certainly isn't in the room, sir.
I told you to stand outside the door. If you let him get away...
But I didn't, sir. He didn't come through the door. I didn't take my eye off it for a second. Maybe the window.
Oh, don't be silly. It's 40 floors to the ground, but he's not here, and... There's a stamp on this table. It's gone, too.
Seems to be.
There must be some clue, something. Wait a minute. What's that?
Oh, it's a blotter.
Mm-hmm. Yes, let's see. Hold it up in front of that mirror. That's it. And now I can read it. Care of Mr. Harry Fentress, Federated States of El Dorado, perishable, handled with... So that's it. El Dorado.
El Dorado? Well, that's a kind of an imaginary place, isn't it, sir? Like a paradise that nobody could ever find?
Yeah, that's what I always thought, too. Come on. We're going to search every inch of this room.
For Mr. Murchison, sir?
No. To see if I can find another one of those wonderful stamps.
Theater 5 has presented The Wonderful Stamps from El Dorado, written by Robert Arthur, directed by Ted Bell. In the cast, Court Benson, Guy Sorrell, Stan Watt, Robert Dryden, and Jim Campbell. Script editor Jack C. Wilson. Original music by Alexander Vlastotsenko. Orchestra under the direction of Glenn Osser. Executive producer for Theater 5, Mr. Lee Bowman. We invite your comments. Write to Theater 5, New York 23, New York. That's Theater 5, New York 23, New York. This is Fred Foy speaking. This has been an ABC Radio Network production.
That's our Strange Tale for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. You can, of course, find more from Strange Tales, Theater 5, and thousands of other old-time radio episodes at relicradio.com. If you'd like to help support this and all of the shows, you can do so through the website as well. Thanks to those who have helped out. Thanks for joining me this week. Be back next Sunday with another story on Relic Radio's Strange Tales.